Favorite physical attribute of her? That's a tough one, but it's between her eyes and her smile. I'm gonna go with her eyes.
A toss-up between his green eyes and his smile. If I had to pick just one, I would say his smile though.
Her favorite attribute of me, I would go with, is my eyes.
His favorite physical feature of me is probably my eyes.
I first met Samantha at a Halloween party that she had hosted, and we were sitting around the campfire, and I remember thinking about how beautiful she looked, and I was really nervous. And she had talked with me a little bit, and after that night she texted me and I texted her back, and we just hit it off from there.
He was friends with my sister actually. Like I think somehow they had connected because they were both from Lawrence County, so she hung out with him some, but I still never met him, which is crazy. So then I moved back home, and he moved back home after he graduated, and my sister and I threw a Halloween party in 2014 at my house, and she invited him because they were kind of hanging out, you know, friendly again. So I remember, you know, there were a lot of people there and it was loud and we had a bonfire, you know, it was a lot of fun. And he showed up and he was like so different from everybody else. He kind of stood out because he was really quiet and shy and almost mysterious. And I guess it was just because he was so quiet and kind of reserved. So I was like, okay, I want to get to know more about this person.
First kiss story. We had been texting for a while before that point about how we wanted to hang out with each other, and I was really nervous, and we were just kind of texting at that time. And I had messaged her one day and asked her, hey, do you want to come and hang out? And that night we hung out at my house, and we stayed up like all night just talking to each other about how we thought it was so crazy. We went to the same school, but our paths had never crossed at that time. And so we pretty much stayed up all night just talking, and we realized that we had that connection together. And I was really nervous, sweaty palms and everything. I remember reaching over to grab her hand, and when I grabbed her hand, she smiled, and later that night, I gave her my first kiss.
The story of our first kiss is really sweet. So it was actually our first date. Really, that's all we did all night. We just talked. We connected over like school and kind of our goals, and we were both really career-oriented people, so we had that in common. It was nice. Like he made me laugh, and it was comfortable. And I was like, this is a first date, and I feel just relaxed. So it was really nice. And then there at the end, he was like, okay, well, you want to watch some Netflix or something? So he turned on Trailer Park Boys, of all things. So we were watching that and laughing, and I just remember he leaned over and took my hand, and his hand was really sweaty. I was like, oh, he's so nervous. And it was really sweet because he was kind of awkward, but it was cute awkward, you know. But I kind of had an idea that maybe that was about to be next. So he kind of held my hand for a minute, and then he kind of leaned closer to me, and then he just like awkwardly leaned over and kissed me, but it was so sweet.
I knew that she would be my wife when she first made me brownies.
So the day that Jonathan proposed to me, it was New Year's Eve, and I knew he had gotten me a ring because he's not very good at surprises. But I didn't know that it was going to be that soon. So we had gone out to eat. So we usually do really low-key New Year's Eve. So we just went out for dinner, we came home, we had a bottle of champagne, and we were just watching the New Year's Eve thing on YouTube. Like, we were just streaming it. And I had noticed like the whole day he was really distant and just kind of, I don't know, I just thought something was up, and I kept asking him, babe, is everything okay? Like, are you mad at me? Did I do something to you? And he was like, no, everything's fine. But I just felt in the back of my mind like something was going on. And I had no idea it was that. Like, I thought there was something bad. And I was like, okay, this is just not good. So I kept asking him all throughout the day. And I know he was probably like, oh my God, this is so awkward. But we were sitting there sipping champagne, watching the New Year's Eve special. And then it's like 11:58 and he stands up and gets his phone out and he starts reading this really sweet message that he had written. He like typed it in his phone in a note and saved it. And then he pulls the ring out of his pocket and I was like, what? I was like, this is why you've been weird all day? So then he just asked me, and of course I cried, and of course it was a yes. And so we didn't even do our midnight kiss because I was so excited. I like immediately called my dad and I was like, oh my gosh, Jonathan asked me to marry him. And Jonathan's sitting there like, babe, it's midnight, like where's my kiss?
How I proposed to her, I remember talking with her dad. I was really nervous that day. I think it was maybe the day of Thanksgiving or the day after. And we both went downstairs and I told him, I really loved his daughter and that I wanted to ask his permission if I could marry her. And I think his emotions like hit him all at once and he kind of started tearing up and we had a long conversation and he said that he thought we were both very compatible and that I treated her really well and that she was good with me and he could see that she would always smile. And he told me that actually part of my vows were due to that day. He said as long as you never let her go to bed angry at night knowing that she's not loved. And so in my vows I wrote that I would never let her go to bed angry at night not knowing that she's loved. The day I proposed to her was on New Year's Day, right at midnight. I was really nervous. She knew I was acting kind of strange. I had the ring in my pocket and I was just trying to think how to do it. It was more private, just me and her and intimate, so I thought that was the perfect time to do it. And that night, whenever it struck midnight, I remember pulling the note out of my pocket and reading the proposal to her. And she started crying, and then immediately afterward, after all the proposal, she called her dad and she was crying and told her dad, and her dad was really happy for both of us.
Something that I've never told Jonathan is when I got the job in East Tennessee, I was so attached to him already, and I didn't tell him because it was so early on and I was terrified to tell him, but I actually almost didn't move because of him. 4 months into talking to him and just really early on, but I felt so strongly that early on. I was terrified of losing him. I just thought this might be my person. I really felt in my heart that he was my person.
Something I've never really told Samantha, I've kind of hinted at it and poked around, I think we both have, is that I really want to have a family with her. Right now we have 2 furry childs that are a lot of responsibility, but I think secretly, deep down, we both would like to have a kid and have a family together. And I would love to be a husband, and I would like to someday have a family with her.